Hi everybody, my name is Ducia and I'm a Reiki healer, and I realized that I should talk about something that's been on my mind on my YouTube channel. And because of just some things that I've noticed, I decided that I want to talk about boundaries, healthy boundaries. You know, a lot of people think that when you are with your family, whether it's family who are your biological family or chosen family, a lot of people think that it's acceptable, or I shouldn't say acceptable. A lot of people think that it's okay to overstep boundaries. So if you're somebody who does not like hugs, your family thinks that it's okay to hug you even though you don't like hugs, but they think it's okay because you are part of the family. And because it's your family, you feel like you are wrong for not wanting to be hugged. But I have news for you. You're not wrong. If you're somebody who does not like hugs, that's totally acceptable. If you're somebody who doesn't like hugs for, I mean, you don't really have to explain yourself. Like, if you are around close family members who've known you for years, and even if you are somebody who used to like hugs, but now we just don't feel so great about it, and you either don't like hugs at all, or you rather have hugs only in certain situations, whether it's with somebody with whom you, I don't know, maybe it's a significant other, or you rather be hugged by children, like, or you don't want to be hugged at all for whatever reason. It's your decision. It's your body. You choose if you want to be hugged or not. If you don't want to be hugged, and even if it's like a sister, brother, some sibling or cousin, or anybody who you know your entire life, and they are used to hugging you, well, I mean, you don't have to really explain. I mean, you can explain it. Like, you can, like, for just one time, like, if they haven't seen you in a long time, or if they see you every day or every week or so, like, you're that close that you really see each other on a daily basis, and you suddenly don't want a hug, it should be they should be okay with it. I mean, it's normal to ask you. Of course, it's normal to ask you, "Are you okay? Like, why don't you want a hug? Is something wrong?" I mean, that's normal. That's okay. It's okay for them to ask that. If it's something that you suddenly are not interested in, and you're suddenly not interested in being hugged, or don't want to hug somebody out of the blue without an explanation, it's okay to ask you why you're not interested. But if you don't feel like explaining yourself, that should be fine. And later on, let's say, I don't know, when you are in a better mood, or when you just have a random conversation with your family, you can explain to them, you know what, I just don't feel, I'm just not anymore the hugging type. It just, I don't know why, it just doesn't feel right to me. And your family has to respect that. Honestly, your family has to respect that. That's a way of setting boundaries. And even if your family says, but we've always hugged each other, what happened? Again, you can say, either you can explain to them why, if there is a reason why, or you can, honestly, you can just say, you know what, I just don't, I know we used to hug each other, and it always feels weird to me, because I couldn't even tell you why it felt weird to me, but it just felt weird. And now, as an adult, I just don't like hugs. Can't really explain. I just don't like hugs. We can hang out. We can I mean, and now of course, because even if post COVID, if you want to hug them, fine. If not, that's okay as well. But generally, you honestly just say, I'm just not anymore the hugging person, or I never really was, and now it just feels even more yuckier to me than it did before. And yeah, that's all I can tell you. And I will tell you right now, I understand that there are some family members who would not understand it. Like they would think something happened to you, like somebody hurt you, or why you suddenly don't want to be hugged. And you can repeat it again, whatever the reason is, if you have any reason. Or you can just say, listen, I just don't like hugs. Take it or leave it. Just I love you dearly. We can I love you, I love your kids, or I love you dearly. I want to be around you, but I'm just not anymore the hugging person. And yeah, that's just who you are. I mean, it's your body. You decide how your body is being treated by others. And if other people, especially your family, if they have a problem with that, that's their problem, not yours. And in case you're wondering, you probably want to ask me, well, okay, so how do you do? Like, you probably don't like hugging either if you're talking about this. Here's the thing, I'm actually a hugger. To be perfectly honest, I am a hugger. However, there are moments in my life where I'm with close friends, even before COVID. Like even before COVID, there were people with whom I was close friends, or those who I really loved very much, and I wanted to hug them, but there were days when even with them, I just like, no, don't want to, no hugs today, no, not now. And they would wonder like, why did something happen? And I would say I either would say that I don't want to talk about, or I just don't feel like hugging today. And yes, there were people who were offended, and I felt wrong for how I felt. But I know that these feelings that I had were wrong. I mean, I don't have to wrong myself. I don't have to feel wrong for not wanting to be hugged. I don't have to feel wrong. It's just how I feel. I just don't feel like being hugged. That's the end of the story. And in the past, I felt guilty about it. I'm gonna admit to you, I felt guilty because I thought, because I was raised partially by some people who cared more about their needs than mine. So I obviously, growing up, thought, okay, my needs are not important, but theirs is. However, during my experiences with holistic healing, like Reiki and angel healing, and whatever else is out there, and to the people who I now know in my life, who welcome me and love me the way I am, I know that if I still have, even today, even if I have days when I just don't want to hug, it's all right. And the people who are around me, they can respect that, and they can accommodate me by using an alternative to hugging, which is fine, or just saying hi there, and I can say hi there. But they respect me, and they show their respect to me by saying, by just give me an alternative to hugging. It can be just hi, or how you doing, or just start having a conversation. Or if I'm sitting, they can sit with me and just talk without actually hugging me, which is great. However, there are people, of course, who still will be like, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you want to hug me?" I mean, even, and I have to tell you right now, there are some people who are going to say that in a playful way. Like, they're not really offended, but they're just acting offended. It's just like saying, "What's wrong with you? You don't like me anymore." Like, it's just like a joke way of saying it, and I understand it. It's not everybody's sense of humor, but somebody talk like that, like even I do sometimes. I joke sometimes with people when I don't get their email, or when when they were going to call me, and I've been waiting like all day for them to call me. Then I say, and I just text one of them later when they do call me. I say, "And I thought you liked me. Like, why are you not talking to me?" And it's just a way of joking about, just being playful. So someone is being playful with you about it, it's okay. They're just being okay. They're being in an affectionate way. They're saying, okay, you don't want to be hugged. Okay, whatever. But if there are people who actually get so offended that they don't want to talk to you, they even say they're offended, or they start slamming doors, or they do something passive aggressively, they're not your people. They're not your people. They want to make you feel guilty for not wanting to be hugged. That's their problem, not yours. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's their problem, not yours. And what I offer as boundary setting, the strategy that I offer, which I just mentioned, you can say something like, "Not today." I mean, if it's just one of those days when you just don't want to get hugged, not today, or no thanks, don't feel like it. Or you can just, or if you're just generally not a hugger, you can just say, "I'm not a hugger." Just be honest about it. I mean, I know, excuse me, some people will say, "You don't hug?" It's like, did somebody do something to you? That's gonna be an answer you're gonna get a lot. People are gonna think that something happened to you. I mean, it. I mean, I do understand that. I do agree that some people don't want to be hugged because somebody hurt them when they were hugging them. However, that's not the case for everybody who doesn't like hugs. It's just everybody is different. And the same thing with, I don't know, with somebody, uh, I don't know, like someone kissing you on the cheek, and it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, you don't like it, then you don't like it. If it's one of those days when you don't want to get a kiss on the cheek, that's fine. Just say it was one of those days. And if you just generally don't like getting a kiss on the cheek, again, that's just who you are. And if you're around people who like say who will say, but you used to like it, and maybe you did like it, but you just didn't have the courage to tell them, then you can just be honest about it and say, okay, I wasn't lying, but I don't like getting a kiss on the cheek. I just didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. However, I just really feel uncomfortable with getting a kiss on my cheek, and I don't care who it is. It's just the way it is, and I do respect you wanting me to you wanting to kiss me on the cheek. I do appreciate that you are showing this way that you care about me, but I just don't feel comfortable with it. And if you and I want to talk about a better way for me to feel that you care about me, sure. Let's um let's come up with another way how you can show me affection. I just don't like kisses on the cheek. Or I don't know, there's different things. There's so many different things that you could get need boundaries on. Or I know that some let's say women don't not all women like it, like even with little girls, some little girls even they don't like it when someone pats them on their cheek. It probably sounds weird, but there are actually little girls who don't like it. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna say that I didn't like it, but it just annoyed the banana tarts out of me. It just annoyed the heck out of me. I can't even explain why. I mean, I didn't. I when I was little, I was happy to shake hands. If somebody was hugging me, I didn't mind that. But they were just like doing this on my cheek, and they were not even friends of my family, or they were not. They were just random people. I don't know. It just, and I remember telling my mother something along the line of, yeah. I remember telling my mother something along the line of, "This is ridiculous. Why do they always do that with me?" And I mean, she listened to me, but I guess that it's not very common. Like most kids get that on their cheek, like someone caressing their cheek or like this. And I know it's a sign of affection. However, I personally always thought it was ridiculous. I can't even explain to you why. I honestly I can't tell you why I thought it was ridiculous. It's not that I hated it. It's just I thought, why are you doing that? Why can't you just give me a hug or something? Why do you have to do that? And obviously, I didn't know how to communicate that when I was little. And of course, now and as an adult, it doesn't happen to me that much. But when I look at children and when I see how adults treat them, like how they what they do with them to be affectionate, I just by looking at how the child reacts, I can tell, oh boy, that child does not appreciate this gesture. And I see this and I'm thinking, okay, does this adult person not see this? Like I know it's a way of saying I like you or I care about you, especially to little kids, but not all kids like it, believe it or not. I know, it sounds weird, but I personally thought this gesture was ridiculous and some children don't like it. It's just how it is. I mean, every kid is different. Every child is different. Every child had their um, own ways of showing love and own ways of taking or accepting love. And for some kids, they just want to hear "I love you." Some other kids want a hug. Some others want something else that only they can express. And you just have to learn to understand their nonverbal language, like their body language, because a child's body language, that's their main language. And I think that when we're kids, when our needs are not being met, like when we are showing our boundaries with our body language and the adults are not registering, like they're not really noticing the boundaries that we are setting, then when we grow up, we have difficulty setting boundaries. Because, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody. However, in my experience, for example, when I was growing up, there were people who respected my boundaries, and there were people who totally ignored my boundaries, who didn't care about what I needed, what I liked, and what I didn't like. And when you grow up and people are ignoring your boundaries or how your body responds to something that they don't like, then kids, when they grow up, they have the sense that, oh, nobody, I'm not that important. Like my, I'm not important. I'm not valued as a person. Like my needs, what I like or don't like, it's not important. And when you grow up with that mentality, you don't know even anymore what's okay and what's not okay. And if I was to tell you, you know what, if you want to, if you want your, let's say if you're somebody who wants to start dating, and you want to know what to look for in a partner or in the person you're dating, I guess it's important, or it's not a guess, but I would say it's definitely important that you know what your boundaries are. You have to be able, like after at least 2 or 3 dates, you should be able to say, like if this person who really likes you wants to know what is okay with you should be able to say, you know what, I understand you probably want to kiss me on the cheek, or you want to pat me on the shoulder or give me a hug. If you're someone who doesn't like that, or if you're someone who needs at least a couple of months to really trust a person, you can say that I like you, but I want to get to know you more before I let you hug me. And if the person you're dating has a problem with it, then you know the answer. That person is not your, no, no. This person, that was obviously the last date. This, you don't need this person in your life. But if this person understands you and says, okay, sure, yeah, we can just get to know each other, no problem. And yes, I know you're gonna say, and now you're probably gonna say, well, maybe they're just gonna say yes because they want sex. Another thing here, that's possible, they want sex. However, let me just tell you here one thing. Mostly, every person who you're dating wants sex, but if they if they have to wait for sex, if they have to get to know you first to get sex, and if they're willing to wait to get to know you, if they're willing to wait like 3 months or so to get to know you, just so you feel comfortable having sex with them, that's the person you want to. That's the person you want to keep dating. That's the person you want to start a relationship with. Get to know them. But if you say that you want to get to know them first before they can even hug you, and they don't want, and they say, and they like, I don't, they even say that that's stupid or whatever, or don't even say anything and just ghost you. You got your answer right there. They're not interested in your boundary. They just want, you know what. So if you want to know more about boundaries, I'm happy to share more. There's so many different examples I could provide about what boundaries are, how to look at boundaries, and what are healthy boundaries. And if you are wondering, okay, what's our non-healthy boundaries? Non-healthy boundaries are no boundaries at all, or if they only accept your boundaries when there's something like if this person says, well, I will only accept your boundaries if you do X, Y, and Z for me. Wrong answer. Wrong answer right there. That person does not respect your boundaries and does not respect you at all. That person is just there for their own needs. Get away with just run for the hills. Say bye. Say have a good life. This is not the person. And same thing if it's with family, parent, step parent, sibling, any other family relative. You have to set boundaries. If they don't like your boundaries, that's their problem. And I know you're going to say, well, we're in COVID right now, so obviously there's no way I can set boundaries. Actually, you can. You still can set boundaries even when you're at home, when you're stuck at home with your family, you can still set boundaries. Because if you feel so overwhelmed that you need to go out to get some fresh air, do it. If they want to join you, say you need some time, you need space, and it's okay because we're in COVID. Hello, you're in COVID. This is COVID, and everybody's stuck together at home, and you don't really have much space for yourself. So you go out and get some air. And yes, some people who don't respect boundaries, don't understand boundaries, they will not appreciate that. But still, just go away for maybe an hour. Just do something. Go get some fresh air. Go into a park, or if you live near a beach, go to a beach to get some time for yourself. Because when you get some time for yourself, you're able to relax. You're able to rejuvenate yourself. You're able to get a new perspective on the situation just happened and just on life overall. And the person who was breaking your boundary also has time to distract themselves with something else. That's how this works. Like you have space from this person, and most of the time they forget about what just happened because it's not a big deal to them. They just think, well, I wanted da 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 from you, and when you leave, they can't get what they wanted. So maybe they're gonna ask somebody else who's at home, or they're just gonna do it on their own, or they're just not gonna do it at all. And again, that's not your responsibility. If you are willing to actually do what they asked you to do, when you get back, that's your decision. You choose if you're able to do it, what they want from you. If they want you to share your space with them, you decide that after you come back from your walk. And again, there's so many examples I could give you on setting healthy boundaries. So many. I mean, honestly, I think if I was doing a radio show and you could honestly just ask me questions and I would just tell you what to do, because I've been there. I mean, even although I live alone, but when I was growing up, I was stuck at home. I was living the life like it was COVID. I wasn't allowed to go out. I was with my parents. My father had issues. I'm not gonna go further. And I don't want to say my job, but the way his mentality was The only place where I was allowed to go was to school and back home. I was not allowed to go anywhere else. I had to be there in the apartment. I had to tend to his needs, and I just had to be there. I was not allowed to go out unless I had to go grocery shopping for him. That was the only time when I was allowed to go out. Okay, so I was living with my father in a similar situation like we having COVID, not going out unless you have to. That was my life growing up. And there were so many boundaries that were broken, so many of them. Like with my mother and I, when we were talking, I could tell her when somebody was not comfortable to me, or she communicated her way when something she didn't like something that was happening. For my father, he didn't care. He was important. He was a narcissist. He was important, and he didn't care about boundaries. It was about him and his needs. That other people around him had needs, that was like a foreign language to him. He didn't care. He didn't understand that. That was not his problem. So I understand what it means to live in a situation where you don't have boundaries. I understand what that situation is, and I can give you some ideas because I learned how to cope while my father was breaking my boundaries. I learned throughout the years. Like when I was a teenager, I started like compiling a list of coping skills for myself and for my mother, because I was able to predict my father. There was so many times when I exactly knew what he was going to say. I exactly knew what he was going to do, because he was just sometimes so predictable and not in a good way. And so I started compiling a list of things to say to him, or or how to respond or react. And my mother and I just started doing that. But anyways, that's why I know so much about boundaries. That's why I know what healthy boundaries are, and that's why I'm happy to help you work on boundaries. And honestly, I'm wondering if I should actually write a book about boundaries, because honestly, I it's just like it's like the story of my life. So, if you want to know more, if you want to know what strategies can work for your particular situation, feel free to comment on this video or reach out to me on social media, on my website, and I'll be happy to talk to you. I will listen to you. I will listen to what's going on in your life and offer you some suggestions, and we can work together on how you can set healthy boundaries for yourself. So yeah, that's all for today for my live on healthy boundaries, and I hope you have a good rest of your April, and possibly I will be doing another live this month, possible. And yeah, I hope to see you, hope to hear from you, and love you all. Bye bye.